There's this form that an attorney needs to sign.
Okay.
And I thought the attorney, but
Start today's workshop. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Here.
Mr. Malloy,
Here.
Ms. Frenchco.
Okay, we're gonna start out tomorrow with a presentation for the centenarians. And I think, what do we got, about 24, 25, 28?
21.
21?
21, yeah.
Still 21? Great. That's awesome. We have, what did we have last year? 16, 18? I don't remember. I think it
I
was less.
don't remember either.
It was less. They had some hit the milestone this year. That's awesome. Okay, dispense with the reading of the minutes, approve the bills, approve additional appropriations, approve transfer appropriations. That'll go to the auditor's office. Ms. Sesterick?
Thank you, Christy Sesterick, Auditor's Office. We have one additional appropriation, and that is the Domestic Relations Juvenile Court, and they need to increase their office and operation supplies. And then we have, four, transfers of appropriations. The first one is Central Court, and they need to increase computer service and software accounts. Children's Services is because there's an increase in Master of Social Work tuition costs for employees. Eastern Court, they need to increase computer service and software accounts. And Veterans, there was a delay in the Sheriff's Office billing, so 5 months of 2023 were not billed until 2024.
Okay. Very good. Gonna get situated here. We did say last one in, buys lunch.
Oh, shoot.
It's early.
He didn't say no.
What's that?
He didn't say no.
Oh, so you would?
He said,
oh,
You're not gonna say no to two board members.
Tomorrow, does your place deliver?
Yeah. No discounts. No, the pillow gnocchi is the best.
Is it?
Oh, it's like puffy.
louder,
gnocchi.
louder.
It's like pillow, it's like pillow.
Here's 20, here's 20.
It's the-
They're the two,
Oh, it's the pillow gnocchi with vodka sauce?
Actually,
Home run.
right?
Let's talk about that.
life would be simpler if we talked about that, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It sure would be.
Yes, yes it would.
And happier, and we would all be.
Yeah.
Number 5, adopt a resolution approving the submitted list, August, for purchase orders, vendors, then and now purchase orders, in compliance with ORC 570541D.
Christie, Sarek Auditor's Office again. This is the standard we've been having you guys pass each month for the then and nows for the previous month. The list does seem to be getting smaller and smaller each time, so we are hopeful that
I noticed that.
yeah, so we're hopeful that we're making some good progress.
Very good. Okay, establish the creation of Adobe Fund, known as Fund Number 745, for use by the Auditor's Office. Funds being created to account for payments of the annual Adobe subscriptions and subsequent chargebacks to the various county departments.
Christie Cesaric, Auditor's Office again. This was at the recommendation of the IT department because we're going to start getting charged for the Adobe like we are the Office 365. Right now, we just pay a license, a one-time license fee, and now we're going to be getting annual subscriptions. And we'll be charging back to the departments for this.
Approach,
I probably.
your name?
Yeah,
Julie
right here.
Green, sorry, I'm sorry, Sam. I apologize. Because we have the licenses for all of our employees, and
Yeah.
I've been asking, I would prefer to have the cloud version, which offers more options. Is that something that's gonna be available to us this year or next year?
Yeah, Tim Hanford, Trumbull County Auditor's Office, yes. That's all part of this. Adobe is changing the way they're doing licensing, so like Microsoft, they're going to, cloud subscriptions for everything. So that definitely is an option.
I think our, Bob Meyer, I know sanitary engineers, I think we have our own subscription through sanitary. Should
Okay.
it go through you guys, or should we just keep paying it separate?
It'd be preferable if you went through us, just to keep everything in one lump, but double check on that and see. Trying to keep everything pretty much standard throughout the county, where, you know, the subscriptions start on one date and then, and it's renewed every single time.
I'm reasonably sure we changed to a cloud
Okay,
a year or two ago.
yeah.
And then, Alex Stephenson, Bush Human
Mhm.
Resources Department. So as we're getting ready to budget for, I mean, I know it's a small incremental amount.
Correct.
However, there were many departments who were hit with the Office 365 who hadn't budgeted for that. So we need to be
Yes.
very clear
Right.
what your expectations are. When's the go-live date? What is the amount? So we all as department heads can budget
Yeah.
accordingly for this. So please don't, I mean, I'm just asking, like, don't spring it on us like we did with the 360. I mean, I get it, but we need to make sure we know what fund is being taken out of for our accounts. You know, we need to all account for that. We might have small offices, some might have larger offices, but as we know, licensures are anywhere on the upwards of, you know, be up to $1,000 if you have a
Correct.
multiple employees. So we need to know to budget for that year after year. So please just maybe let us know ahead of time.
I will,
That'd be really helpful.
Tim Hanford, Trumbull County Auditor's Office. I will say there was communication out with the Office 365.
Yes,
Um,
but it was an option.
it was an option
This doesn't sound like this
first.
would be an option.
No, this
Right.
is not gonna be an option. And
So we need,
similar
yeah,
to Office 365, we need to,
You need to
we
do
need to
it.
start
Yeah.
moving everybody.
Yeah.
So.
Christie Auditor's Office, and this is for the pro licenses, right?
It's for the
This isn't
pro
for the
license.
free,
Oh,
freebie
good.
ones where
Yeah.
you just
No,
open
no,
it, you're
no.
reading stuff. This is
Okay,
for the
good.
ones where you can, edit and alter things and,
Very good.
Yeah.
right, make
These-
changes to it, do
These are more
fillable.
for more advanced functions and.
Perfect.
And then we're going to be using the same account for the departments that we use for Office 365, and that's
Wonderful.
object code 505507. We're gonna be
Correct.
using that for all subscriptions for, computer services.
505507?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful.
Julie Green, one more question. So we have the Adobe, I think, Pro 2020 that we paid for last year maybe. We just bought a new one for the 7th employee this year. So will those expire at a certain point? How would we know? Because we were under the understanding that once you purchase them, you're good until you buy another one.
Yes, and at that time, you are indeed good, as long as you don't have issues and you don't require Adobe support, you're good to go. So, they will issue an end of life for these products, and we do recommend when it hits that end of life, you do upgrade,
Yeah,
but for a host of reasons, including security concerns. But as long as they're still supporting those and still providing updates for those, we have no issue with holding on to those
So-
licenses.
it would be safe to just budget for 2025?
I would say, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I guess that's what I was trying to, Alex
Yeah.
and Jesse Bush, I'm trying to kind of round this out for all of us who are working to, obviously, we're gonna be opening up the budget period for 2025, so we need to make sure that we're just all, as department heads, accounting for, again, I know it's small, but that, you know, that leads to departmental transfers and stuff, and appropriations, so if we can get ahead of it, all department heads, budget for Adobe.
I would
Right.
say.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's many things that we have that letter going out soon to start the 2025 budget. We just wanted to kind of get together with the three of us to, there's some things that we would like to warn the department heads about this year, about, you know, budgeting
Yeah.
and using realistic budgets, but this year is a base, budgeting for everything, taking into consideration bargaining units and the arbitrator thing. So those will be coming out soon.
Okay. Okay, Gary, you're off the hook too.
All right.
Oh, John now.
He doesn't even know what he just walked in.
Yeah, you buy lunch now, John.
Number 7, authorize the Board of Commissioners to join with the Trumbull County Prosecuting Attorney to file an application with the Court of Common Pleas for the appointment of Attorney Aaron Glasgow and the law firm of Isaac, Wiles, and Burkholder as legal counsel for Trumbull County Auditor to provide legal research, advice, and consulting, including all related litigation relative to a legal dispute over alleged fraud and funds transferred to Bezetta Township. The appointment of outside legal counsel is necessary because Trumbull County Prosecutor's Office faces a conflict of interest as legal for both Bezetta Township and for Trumbull County Auditor. Attorney Glasgow will provide legal counsel and representation at the rate of $2.25 per hour. Mr. Prosecutor.
Yeah, Commissioners, Bill Danso, Trumbull County Prosecutor's Office. This is something that I think we kind of discussed a little bit in the last week's meeting or work session, I don't recall, but, this is about the matter with Bezetta that Trustee Hovis came and spoke to you about as well. Because we represent Bezetta Township, we represent the auditor, we represent the commissioners, we believe that we're in a conflict situation. Bezetta's already procured outside counsel, and, this would help get, the auditor's office outside counsel to hopefully resolve this dispute without litigation, but to try to maybe find a path forward that everybody can agree on. This is, a firm that Corsa sometimes appoints attorneys from for Trumbull County. This is not a Corsa legal counsel appointment, but they are offering the discounted rate that they offer for Corsa members. This will just, again, try to help things move along a little bit with this matter and give everybody the counsel that they need. And then if I could address number 10 while I'm talking about this also, on the agenda, item number 10 is to request an opinion from our office on how to get Bezetta Township their money. This is something that, you know, the board, no matter how the board votes on it, to be honest, you're going to get a letter back saying we have a conflict. So that's why number 7 is on the agenda here, to help make sure that people have counsel that they need to help go forward.
Can we just strike number 10 then? Is there a need for number 10 with 7 and based on what you're telling us here now?
In my opinion, there's not a reason to have number 10 on there, but I suspect.
Plus, when it was submitted, there were some typos on here. They only asked about the funds of $80.
Yes,
and-
there are typos.
And it was.
I put it on exactly like it was
Right,
submitted.
there's a couple typos on here, so if we don't need this, we don't need an opinion from you, because you just gave us the opinion.
Correct.
And we don't need to waive privilege on that opinion, because you just gave it publicly, that you
we have a
represent both of us.
conflict,
There's
correct.
a conflict, so even picking a fund or getting involved in it in any way, shape, or form, you shouldn't do.
Right.
Okay, strike, Mauro, you?
Yes,
agree with that?
absolutely, absolutely.
Strike number 10 then.
I think we
Okay.
discussed this at the last meeting.
I believe so.
And number 7, you know, $2.25, that's about the low rate of what we've been paying.
Mhm.
I know there are local attorneys that are a lot cheaper, but in a specialized thing with this, where FBI is involved and everything else, we need to dot every I and cross every T. And I would ask though, again, Tim and Commissioner, you know, let's not drag our feet on this at all. Get with the council as soon as we possibly can, because Bezetta, like all townships, work month to month. They don't have a big savings account. they got people to pay, they got
Yes.
cops that need paid, they got firemen need paid, they got road department people need paid, and we don't wanna hinder what they're doing in any way, shape, or form through this process. It's all gonna get worked out some way, shape, or form. But if there's a way somehow that we can make them whole sooner than later and at least keep the communication open. I know they have an attorney, which is their right to do and to protect their township and their citizens and their money. We have one, but this is, you know, they still are part of the family, of Trumbull County family. We don't want this thing to turn any more hostile than what it's become over the last week. And I think we're all in agreement that, Bezetta Township residents are getting screwed right now, but at the same sense, so are our taxpayers in Trumbull County. We don't wanna double take money out of our tax money that could go to other departments to pay this. This is something that's gonna have to be worked out in some way, shape, or form. The odds of getting the money back from the culprits is probably slim to zero, but there are insurances and bonds and things like that that will cover, so we don't have to double tax the taxpayers, for the crime that occurred.
And I think, Commissioner, at the end of the day, it's a legal matter now. They've retained legal counsel. This will, provide legal counsel to our auditor, and it remains, you know, something that they can work out between we shouldn't even be discussing it, right, Bill, at this point? Because, I mean, we can discuss hiring the legal counsel.
Sure.
What's gonna come of those negotiations?
Yeah,
Right.
that's all
That's between the
speculation.
attorneys,
Yeah.
But we don't want the citizens of Bezetta
Of
to
course.
think in any way, shape, or form,
No, no,
we're
no.
on their backs, and we're not gonna back them up.
Of course.
Or the auditor's employees. You know, this is something that will be worked out. We all agree that it's gonna be worked out. We just have to figure out what is the legal way to work things out without interfering with an investigation,
Yes.
and two, doing anything that would put any employee, department, or anyone in opposition of the revised code as to how we're supposed to do something like this. You know, we wanna follow the rules on it. And if it was my choice, I'd say, Marla, let's take a vote and let's give them 80 grand. But that 80 grand's coming from somewhere.
Right.
It's coming from other townships, other taxpayers. You know, taxpayers out there already paid this 80 grand, for them to have to pay it again, or take from somebody else to make up for this. We gotta follow what the law says we need to do.
That's right.
But it's gonna happen eventually. I mean, we're not gonna let Bezetta, I could safely say as
Yeah.
commissioner, we're not gonna tell Bezetta, oh, sorry guys, you guys are screwed, go lay your guys off for a month or something. That's not gonna happen.
No.
Never is gonna happen. So, this is a good thing then. This gets the
Yeah.
ball rolling on this. Tim, I know you're on it. I know you've met with them, and you probably have daily talks with them on what needs done with this. And being that they are a Corso recommended attorney, that's probably good in a sense too, because they would understand too better than anybody when Corso gets involved, when they don't, when bonds get involved, when they don't, when, you know, where the liability of, you know, where this money's gonna come from, comes from.
Sure.
Hopefully, it's money can come from somewhere that's on a shelf that's there for emergency purposes like this, and, yeah, that would be the best thing, without hurting our taxpayers. Okay, number 8, rescind the amendment of Commissioners' meeting agenda dated July 17th, 24. Item number 4, JV 158, page 26622, indicating a vendor name change from Warren Roofing Insulation to Xterra Building Solutions LLC, and revert back to name indicated on the Commissioners' meeting agenda dated May 8th, 2024. Warren Roofing Insulation with reference to the roof replacement project at the Trumbull County Engineers. It was, approved by our prosecutor here. And Mike Smolinski, can you address, we're changed it, now we're changing it back again, is that what this is?
Yeah, so Commissioners, this is the design build, Trumbull County, Engineers Portland Garage Roof replacement, what we're talking about. So in May 8th, we awarded it to Warren Roofing and Insulating Company. We commenced the design, and we got some contract documents, and they said Xterra. And so our question was, who's Xterra? And so that's their conglomerate, they're a part of this conglomerate. So, you know, basically, if you own some buildings, you can contract with Xterra, and they'll do your roof, your lands, whatever you need. It's like a one-stop shop. So at that time, we were clear that, hey, these contract documents have to read Xterra. And so that facilitated that rescind journal entry. Well, we get further into it, and we find out that some of the contract documents we can't obtain in Xtera's name, that they have to come from Warren Roofing. That being the case, what we're requesting is that we go back to Warren Roofing and Insulating, and all of our contract documents will read the same, Warren Roofing and Insulating. So we're gonna revert back to that May 8th journal entry, name change.
Mike, can I ask you, have we paid a dime on
No,
this
we
yet?
haven't paid anything.
Okay,
We're not gonna pay anything until we get this resolved.
okay. And then also, was there an issue with the PLA? Did they have an issue signing the PLA at all?
All those documents are signed, and it was included in the packet that I had sent for the next journal entry.
That's a positive.
Yeah, no, they've been great to work with. I mean, things happen, they apologize, you know, I mean, it was an unforeseen, and I don't wanna stand here and defend Warren Roofing and Insulating, but they had just signed up to this conglomerate, so we may wanna be able
I
to
see.
find, you know, public contract going through this process with it. You know, and then they realized that, you know, toward the end of this, because we're in final negotiations on price, contract documents, they said, hey, we think we screwed up. It's fine, let's fix it now, that way all of our documents read the same.
So it's more of just a name change. It was a name change, then it wasn't a name change, and we're going back to the name change.
We're going back to the
But in
original.
the meantime, they are using local labor,
Absolutely, yes.
which is key, so.
Matter of fact, there's a pre-construction meeting there Thursday morning, and it's to meet some of the local.
Good.
So for like, the demo of the roof, that's local, the steel workers are local.
Good.
So, I mean, and we expect to have it, you know, substantially completed this year, so.
Well,
By this year, they're gonna work on?
Well, don't jinx us, but, yeah.
Okay,
that's
Mike,
our goal.
We still have some good weather.
I just gotta say, you gotta put a flame on it, because we're putting a roof on a garage, and there's a building blew up in Youngstown, was demolished, and the new one will probably be built before we put a roof on the stinking garage. This is getting to the ridiculous point of, I could feel for the staff over there too. Last year, they were worried about where they could put the equipment, we're like, we had hoped to get it done before winter last year. Now, to even approach even getting close to winter this year and not to have this thing done is absolutely ridiculous. We need to get this thing done.
So, we keep running up against this design-build criteria, and on this one, what I would say is, if this was a traditional bid-build project, we would have uncovered this error with the naming right off, because we had a bid bond. We didn't have a bid bond. And the performance bond was the crutch of this, the issue with the naming. So we would have uncovered that error right off. So that's just one more
Reason maybe not to do any design builds in the future.
The whole industry's
potentially.
going to design build, but we seem to struggle with it, you know, because of our public entity.
This roof better be pretty impressive. Hopefully it's a tourist attraction for Trumbull County. We can put Beth Carmichael on it, and she can bring bus tours to
It's
see
a
this
big
roof.
building,
And let's push them, there's good weather left, I think we can get this
No,
done by
we've
the
been
end of the
very
year.
clear on that.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good.
You know, we've met with them, we've been very clear on that. You know, and I don't want to jinx it, but we're expected to get started here next month, next month.
Okay.
All right, number 9 is authorize Denny Moy, President of the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners, to execute any and all documents required for the agreement with Warren Roofing and Insulating for the design-build roof replacement project, Trumbull County Cortland Garage, in the amount of $1.4 million to be paid from Fund Number 425080, 1000, 505609, and appropriate accordingly. This agreement was previously reviewed and approved by William Danzo, Trumbull County Prosecutor's Office, per Mike Swansky. Like I said, Mike, it's a roof. Please, get on these guys. I'll sign it today. If I gotta drive to Walton Hills to sign the contract, let's get this thing rolling.
Again, Mike Selinsky, Trumbull County Benefit. So this is the agreement form with the right name, and the costs are as projected. So there's no surprises in our costs, how we originally scoped the project.
Okay.
All right, 10, we've already covered. 11, concur with Trumbull County Engineer to close the following roadway: Sadler Corolla Road in Gustavus Township between Gardner, Barclay, and 87 for culvert replacement. It's gonna be closed from this past Monday till October 25th. Number 12, concur with Trumbull County Engineer's special fleet permit for Schoonover Trucking. Number 13,
Quickly, Commissioner, Gary Schaefer was on the line. If Gary wants to add anything to these, or he just buzzed in on me. Gary, are you on the line? Is Gary Schaefer on the line?
Star six.
Star
Gary,
six,
unmute
Gary.
yourself.
If you wanted to talk about these.
Hang on, Mike, just in case it's
I don't know if it's about the roof or not. I don't know.
Okay,
Gary?
yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's not about any current agenda items. Thank you, Commissioners, for, letting me jump in here. It's about the damage. You guys are probably aware Bradley Brownlee this summer sustained some damage from a large farm implement. We've been negotiating with, the insurance company, to get that, paid for, and they have agreed to pay the full amount of the estimated repair at $112,500. I believe that estimate is from. Frank Martuccio Paving's done a lot of work for us this summer on those types of roads. They're also under contract with 2 townships currently to complete work, this fall, so they will be in the area. So what we're looking at doing is, and the prosecutors also, approved the release. So the prosecutor's office has been on board with the negotiations and the release from the insurance company. So at this point, we're looking at the commissioners to declare an emergency so we can get these repairs done this year. Currently, the road's closed to through traffic, and it's hazardous to motorcycles and some other types of vehicles. So the local police out there have closed that road to through traffic. So on next week's commissioner's agenda, we're going to be requesting the declaration of an emergency so we can move quickly to get those repairs done. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that agenda item that'll be coming next week and the importance and the reasoning behind the declaration of an emergency.
So if we declare an emergency, you don't have to put it out to bid, you've already picked who's gonna do it?
That's correct. We can direct select and move forward quickly. We've done it in the past with bridges. Commissioner Kendall Mesa, you probably remember that up in Bristol
Yes.
about 4 or 5 years ago. That bridge it dropped significantly, and we had to do an emergency repair on that. So, it's something we've done before, and it'll be supported by the prosecutor's office.
So once the commissioners declare an emergency, you don't have to go through the typical bidding cycle, is what you're saying, and that's what we've done in the past, correct?
Yes, yeah, we've done it in the past.
Yeah, and if our engineer is deeming it an emergency, I think the commissioners need to act on it. So if you're gonna work with Bill Danzo on the language on that and get, that on the agenda next week, I don't think it'll be a problem.
Okay, no, we absolutely will work with that department and get it on the agenda.
Yeah, we would need, I imagine, something from the engineer requesting that we declare an emergency in writing.
Oh, no, yeah, I'll work on the agenda item this week. I'll get it in by Thursday and, get it on the agenda for next week's approval.
Okay. Anything else to add, Gary, on these other items, or no?
No, I don't. No, I just
Okay.
appreciate moving quickly on, the Cortland. I thank Mike, and anyone else who's been working on that to expedite. I know Bill Hart's been out there too. We've had meetings and looking forward to getting that project done in Cortland.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners. Bye.
Okay, good. 13.
Thank you.
Accept the retirement of J. Jeffrey Higgins, afternoon work supervisor in Building Maintenance Department, effective September 18th, and thank him for his years of service to Trumbull County. And, the retirement letter shall be recorded for journal purposes. That's gonna bring us down to 0 supervisors on afternoon. We're gonna have to get Mr. Hart to act on this one to, figure out how we have coverage. We can't leave an afternoon shift unsupervised. Daytime shift leaves at 4:30, I believe. Alex?
Mm-hmm.
They leave at 4:30? And I think Mr. Hart leaves at 3, most days.
2:30.
2:30? So we need to work with him to adjust the hours, him and the one other supervisor he has, that for full coverage till 12:30 when people punch out. Definitely need supervision on that shift. 14, award the lowest responsive and responsible bid is submitted by APBN Inc., 4412 US 422 Pulaski, PA. The Nile CSX Bridge Painting Project in the amount of $388,000 to be paid from fund number 983-060-5600, 5616, 3-505-419. And authorize Denny Muller, President Board, Trumbull County Commissioners, to enter into contract with APBN Inc. finalize all documents for said project and execute their capital improvement, community park, recreation, conservation project pass-through grant agreement with ODNR for the bridge painting project. All documents have been reviewed and approved by Jason Toth, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney, Trumbull County Prosecutor's Office. Contract must be paid in full, allowing the funds then to be reimbursed through via agencies and amounts as listed. And this is per Zach at the Metro Parks. Engineer's estimate was $420,000. The only other bid submitted was AI Industrial for $540,000. And the state capital budget's gonna reimburse $294,000, City Niles $24,300, Commissioner $69,700. Commissioner, was this something you guys
This
voted
is,
on before I got here?
yeah, this
years
is
ago?
something we've been working on for some time now. It was, Zach had a little bit of, it's taken a little bit of time because of the easements and everything that, he's had to go through with the railroads, but, at the end of the day, this was, a collaborative effort between the state, obviously, I think it was, Santucci, who received the $294,000 out of the capital budget. The city of Niles has pledged support, and the county commissioner, so it's one of those things, we know these bridges are necessary, and this is part of the upkeep of the bike trail and, the beautification of the trail that falls on the commissioners a lot of the time, so it's
So
good to,
$69,700, we've already appropriated from somewhere, already approved,
yes,
budgeted from
Yes.
somewhere.
yes, yes. And I think when you look at, in totality, obviously the 540, but when you, take into account what the state budget is putting into the pot in the city of Niles, it only makes sense that we contribute some too, and it goes to the beautification of the trail, which is an ongoing effort, started by Miss Julie Green over there.
Started in 1988 by a group called the Great Ohio Lake Trail Greenway Coalition.
Well, you had a lot to do with it.
Well,
A little louder.
you want me to give the microphone?
Can you repeat that, please?
You want me to give the history of, is it on?
It will be in a second.
Well, we have to give
Started in
Gary
1988,
credit because
Julie
he
Green.
hired me and had me start on
Right.
the project. There you go, Gary. Yeah, so no, in 1988, they started the idea to have the four-county bike trail developed. And part of it in Trumbull County is developed along the old 714 line. And so I think we have currently a 25-year lease with the Ohio Rail Development Commission for the portions that are in Trumbull County, but it extends from the lake to the river, obviously. And, if, I have the numbers on my computer, but in Trumbull County, I believe we're up to, I think, $10 million in grant funding. Of that amount, the, local share has been minimal from the commissioners, but historically, for the last 25 years, the commissioners have voted in support of expanding the bike trail that, receives hundreds of thousands of visitors each year. You know, I don't wanna speak about the other issues that are currently going on, but I do wanna support the bike trail, I always will.
Well, we do have $0 for upkeep though, right? So they put $10 million into building it, but now we're responsible for repaving it, cleaning it,
Yeah, that's
safety things.
a
We had a part of it fall in,
that's a larger issue
right?
that, has to deal with, you know, capital improvement funds allocated by the commissioners long-term. However, I can say that historically, we have, you know, explained that the use of these federal aid funds do require the long-term maintenance of any structures built with them. And the commissioners have been the ones who have been the primary applicants.
Has anybody been in contact with our state reps on that, or potentially more state funds to upkeep them,
Well, it's
resurface them, anything like that?
currently not under my authority, this particular project. I mean, I sort of am just advising for the last, 6 years, Commissioner. So the Metro Parks is the entity
So that would be
that
Zach
you
to
wanna
get with the
talk
state
to.
reps to look for that, or to ask for it.
As far as I know, there really aren't any funds available for long-term maintenance. That goes for all government buildings, really. I mean, even when you're looking at grant funding for things like infrastructure.
Right.
Typically, they'll say, if it is for government use or for maintenance, it's not an eligible spend. They expect that your local tax dollars are budgeted for those purposes. That's been my experience with the many grants, over the years, but I'll answer your question.
It does. I know it's been an issue, because, I mean, our roads, we get license plate tax things, they have to resurface the roads, refix them. There are parts of the bike trail, you said it started in '88, so there are parts of it that are pretty old now. There are parts of it that
Well,
date back to the '90s, late '90s in Champion and stuff, that I know there's some wear and tear.
the phase 1 and 2 were completed in 2003 and 4. So they're about 20, what years? 21 years old, 20 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Julie.
Sure.
15, approve the satisfaction of mortgage on the properties of the homeowners Joseph and Alma Walker. They were assisted through Trumbull County's home program in 2003. The home mortgage is for a 10-year declining term. Mr. and Mrs. Walker have satisfied all terms and conditions of said mortgage by payments in full. Then we have one for James and Mary Ann Johnson, started in '98, and we have another one for Kelly Hipkins, assisted through Trumbull County Housing Impact CHIP revolving loan program in 2019, 5-year declining term. And then approve the satisfaction of mortgage on the property of Thomas Curran through Trumbull County Home Program. It was for a 5-year declining term. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. Explain these a little bit to me, Julie. These people, we're paying their mortgage for them, or we're helping them with that, or why, or what, how does
Sure.
that happen?
Julie Green, Trumbull County Planning Commission. Our office administers the home program, which is a consortium with the city of Warren, as well as the CHIP program that we apply for every several years. It's a competitive grant through the state. Through those grant programs, we are able to assist people with either home repairs or rehabilitation. And in order for them to participate in the program, we're required to put on a lien on their mortgage, where if they sell it in a certain amount of time, they are required to repay it. But it's a forgivable declining term, so at the end of the term, you're supposed to release these. Now, over the years, due to lack of succession planning at the Planning Commission, kind of ironic, some of these just weren't tracked properly. And so with our new staff person, we had him conduct research on the files that we have in the office, and he was able to uncover more. We went through this, I think, several years ago also, where we went through a bunch of old files that we located and found that, hey, these were never actually formally released. And so that's what these are.
But it's not like there was any default on anything.
No.
These are just, it was a clerical error to not put these on the agenda
Correct.
for official release. And the home
Correct.
program is federal funds, and the CHIP program is state funds, correct?
The CHIP is through the state of Ohio, but it's also federal money.
Okay, but it's administered through the state of Ohio.
State of Ohio, correct,
And the home is a consortium with, the city of Warren.
correct.
It's been very successful in both
Oh,
of
absolutely.
those programs.
Yep, we just finished up the 21 CHIP and the home program. I think we've spent almost $600,000 helping over a dozen homeowners.
Homeowners that are struggling.
Right.
Yeah, while we're talking about that, let me ask you about something that I heard of too, get your input on, really good at this. I have a friend that lived in Barberton. He's now a Norton councilman, but he lived in Barberton. He went into a low-income neighborhood. It was a rundown neighborhood in the shadow of Goodyear, and they had a program through the city of Barberton. He bought his house for like $24,000. He invested $60,000 into it, and he had to meet like the standards of what color, what you can do on the outside. It was a beautification program for his neighborhood, and he had to live there for 3 years, and then he was able to sell his house. So he bought it for like $24,000. He put $60,000 into it. He got reimbursed on the money he put into it by the city, and then after 3 years, he sold it for $175,000. And that whole street did that, and it turned into one of the most beautiful places in that area to live. And they built a park right behind it, so it went from a neighborhood that was a deplorable $25,000 house per house neighborhood to now kind of a yuppie neighborhood at $175,000, $200,000 houses. And that's where a lot of workers that work in Goodyear and work in that neighborhood, they walk to work, they bike to work, and it kind of was a program that redid a street at a time, and I guess they did it for like 4 blocks in Barberton. Do you know anything about that, or is that kind of what home is, or is there anything with
No?
Kimberly Clark coming or something? Any ideas we can look at something like this, maybe with the city to
Yeah.
try to rebuild some neighborhoods, utilizing something similar? This isn't that, but it's on the lines of that, and it was something I heard from them that sounded like, wow, we should be doing
Well,
something
isn't
like
the city an entitlement city, and we can't, a lot of those programs have to be city-centered, and city-funded. I mean, besides like the home program where it's a joint consortium. Julie, you talked to it more than me, yeah.
Okay. Julie Green, so the home program and the CDBG program are both income-based. So to be eligible for participation, you have to meet the income guidelines, which are set by HUD, and they change annually. For example, I think a one-person household can earn up to, I think right now, $42,000, something around there, in order to qualify for one of our programs. So that's the beginning. I mean, we can, and we have targeted CDBG and home funds, especially in concert with areas that are getting new sanitary sewer in the past. So that's something we have historically done. Without knowing the details of Barberton, it sounds like they dedicated part of their general fund money to create that fund. I know the city of Warren has a similar program that they do for business owners for the facade improvement. So it's just a matter of prioritizing your general fund money to allocate it towards a certain project or a target area. I know the land bank also, you know, has agreements with homeowners to purchase and rehabilitate and maintain ownership of, you know, structures. So, yeah.
And something to look into, or at least we should look into, Commissioner, or deal with, as we're worried about housing for these workers coming here. It was something that I remember when he first moved in there were gunshots at night, there was a corner store that was basically just a place to go buy blunts and beer and cigarettes, and it turned into a nice neighborhood bar popped up, they redid the park behind them, they got a corner market now that was the old liquor, or the old corner store was remodeled, and it's a desirable area to live now in that area, and it was a program that over 10 years went from, it just totally flip-flopped, and it was a neat thing that I saw firsthand, somewhat just by visiting him every year and seeing where I went from, you know, when he put the new floors in, he had to put the siding on, he had to do, it's a really nice neighborhood now because of it.
And Julie, we've done beautification grants in different cities, but in entitlement cities like the city of Warren,
Correct.
that would need to be through their administration.
Correct.
They get their own allocation.
They do. They're an entitlement community, and so they do receive their own home and their own CDBG.
Right.
And it's really up to them and their, guiding board to decide how those funds are spent. I mean, I can say just from working in downtown Warren with Trumbull Neighborhood Partnership, the Land Bank, and the City of Warren working in partnership, they have really improved at least the areas that I see through demolition and rehabilitation. I mean, just look at I know it's a nationwide thing, but our home prices, our home valuations in the city is, you know, reflective of that as well. So, but yeah, we'll look into the specifics of Barberton. I don't know if
Maybe a little side pet project we can work on a little bit, and we can call him up and ask how it worked exactly, and
Right, yeah,
talk to someone from Barberton.
But we were very successful in the downtown beautification of Girard,
right.
where businesses got new facades and all those, you know.
Unfortunately, the state did away with that program.
Yeah,
So we helped, I think, I wanna say 30 or 40 businesses.
34, yeah, with facade improvements, roof repairs,
Yes.
HVAC systems,
Right.
whatever it was, you know.
Yeah, they
A
did
lot of
away
things
with that
qualified, and
program.
that was very, very, beneficial to those businesses down there. I know the funeral home benefited from that as well.
And it's also, yeah, absolutely.
And
It's also
yeah.
been something that Liberty Township wants to pursue. They would
Yes.
like to have a facade improvement, like a fund generated for businesses on Belmont.
Yes.
And again, that that is potentially something that could be,
Is that?
oh goodness
Oh, boy.
gracious.
I'm sorry, it's cracking and stopping.
Where's, you wanna call Bill?
I'll step out real quick.
I didn't know.
Why not have a roof leak in the?
Well, we knew,
building?
so
Why
we
not?
knew, I mean,
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
it's
Same
just,
class.
I can hear it,
Flat roof.
I can hear it, and
Feel at home, Julie?
it's like,
Ew.
bumping.
I used to work here.
I just didn't wanna go on your head, Commissioner.
I used to work on the, yeah, really,
I used to be in the commissioner's office.
messed up my
You know
hair.
that?
Were you?
Yeah.
Yes, it used to be in the Ween building.
I was in the Ween building, which was the
God bless you.
finest of
Well,
all
yeah.
buildings. Gary and I both were
Yeah.
there.
I feel you work better when there's water dripping onto your paperwork.
Oh, well,
and
it
stuff.
was even
More
better
natural
when,
environment for you.
well, we had lots of wildlife in our office as well.
Oh, yeah.
Bats and cats and.
I like that idea, though, you were saying about Liberty Township and Belmont
Yeah.
Avenue and that,
Yeah,
you know,
so,
a downtown program, beautification program for their business facades and,
yeah.
roofs and everything they need.
But identifying a funding source, so the city, or the state of Ohio is changed how they interpret how we can use our funding, and obviously they've reduced the funding, the allocation funding, as you know, over the last few years.
It's gone
One-
to smaller, more rural
We used to get
communities.
$700,000 a year, now we get $570 every 2 years, because they switched the funding, you know, how they do the
Criteria
funding.
and all that, yeah.
They still haven't opened the RPIC.
Well, we
Supposed
don't
to be
have
open
the, we
July
don't
1st.
have the PTI yet, so that's probably a good thing.
I know, but it's worrisome.
Well, I think Commissioner, I know you were out there too, but Belmont Avenue and the beautification of that,
Right.
corridor leading into Trumbull County could be something that we could maybe explore in the future.
They have the Build a Better Belmont group that's
Yeah.
looking
Oh,
at the
yeah.
same type of thing, what they did in Kinsman.
Yes.
That was kinda on the backs of private industry there, and Dick Thompson.
Yes,
And then people they do the start with the buildings, the public structures, and then people were painting the front of their houses, painting out the front porches, and it was a major change than what it was 10 years ago. So every community could do this,
Yeah.
sometimes it just needs a little spark, and that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
maybe, especially with these industry coming here now, I think we can safely say we've stopped the leak that we have in our county of people
Mhm.
leaving, and with the new industries we have in here, we're gonna reverse that, and people are gonna start coming, but we have to be ready for that. We have to have
Right.
nice city areas, we have to have nice places to shop, safe houses, good
Yeah.
neighborhoods for them to go to. There's houses for sale, but, you know, the ones, you know, there are some that are in less desirable neighborhoods for someone from outside to come to, that could be changed back to the way they were.
and
A
leaning,
little bit of help.
and leaning on our state legislators to make sure that that funding is restored. I mean, that went to,
They just did away with the program.
they just did away with the program.
Yeah, they're going to have a, workshop here in November, so I'll follow.
Whatever we need to do locally,
Oh,
to,
yeah.
you know.
We just,
lobby
when that train
PCAO
comes, we need
or,
to be
you
on it.
know,
But truly, that's only for cities. That would only apply to not, well, actually, it wouldn't apply to Niles because they get their own. So it only
what
applies
about Home Rule
to-
Township?
No. It only applies to actual central business districts. I don't,
Hmm.
at least that's how they had it defined in the past. So the villages and cities that are in our program, like, Newton Falls, Cortland, Hubbard, Gerard,
Yeah, those would all qualify,
those would potentially.
or would have
But
qualified.
you would only be able to apply for, you know, one every 2 years.
Sure,
But I agree, it was a fantastic program.
yes, it was.
Okay, very good.
Sorry, get off the internet here.
Okay. Number 19, approve change order number 1 for the contract with GPD Group for the professional engineering services associated with the Gerard Multi-Generational Center Gym Roof Replacement Project for a net increase of $3,700 funded through PY 2023 Community Development Block Grant Allocation Program, and authorize President Denny Malloy to sign the submitted change order number 1 form for the increase of $3,700, revising the total contract amount from $12,350 to $16,050. The increase is due to the length of construction being longer than anticipated, due to material delivery and timing issues that result in additional staff time and documentation required for CDBG grant compliance.
Julie Green, do you have any questions? Standard change order.
This is just the engineering of it,
Correct.
right?
Yeah, we had a reduction in the final contract amount for the roof itself, but we are asking for a change order to reflect actual time spent on the,
Will this roof be replaced before the
oh,
engineer's
no,
garage?
this is done.
Is it done?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is done.
Yeah, Gary Newbrow, sanitary engineer. Julie, I'm just
So I have that.
curious about your, terminology there.
What do I have?
It's usually modifications when it comes to the engineers. It's
Okay.
change orders when it comes to contractors.
Well, we can
So,
change that.
I don't wanna tell you what to do, but that's just the
We can
normal
change
that
that.
I've seen here for 25 years.
How about to approve modification
There
one
you go.
and final, because it's done.
Yeah,
No, I appreciate that, Gary.
all right.
No, you're right, it's usually a modification. Modification number one and final.
Well, you guys got letters after your title.
Who has letters? I don't have letters.
Okay, good? You got the change you needed for that? 20, accept maintenance bond issued by Selective Insurance Company of America for 3 sanitary lateral connections for low and moderate income households in the Heat and Shoot project area funded through PY 2022, CDBG Residential Public Infrastructure Grant, and American Rescue Plan Act, installed by Pollard Land Services. Requested final payment to complete a work inspected and approved by Trumbull County Sanitary Engineers Office. Maintenance bonds in the amount of 20% of the final project cost and valid for a period of 2 years, commencing August 13th, ending August 13th, 2026.
Julie Green, this is one of our collaborative efforts with sanitary engineers. Gary mentioned that Bill McCoskey works on these, you know, and saves the county a lot of money. I concur with that. He does the engineering for these households and identifies how they can connect to the sanitary sewer, and then works with the Trumbull County Combined Health District to, you know, make sure that they're installed properly and meeting all of their requirements. And so I think we have over 40 connections in total for Heat and Shoot that we assisted through this grant and the ARP funding. So that's 40 low and moderate income households that were assisted through, you know, grant funds.
Gotcha.
And we're pretty much done with this grant.
Yeah, Gary Newbrow, sanitary engineer. Commissioner, I have the last, pay estimates here for your signature for those connections, and that does pretty much wrap up Heat and Shoot. I see this project as a complete success. I started working on some numbers on it yesterday. In the coming weeks, we'll get that final capital charge, but at the public hearing, if you recall, we had a capital charge of $35 per month, and we're gonna come in somewhere around $22
Wow.
a month.
Great,
That's
fantastic.
And one more point to make, this area that was served with sanitary sewer has a lot of vacant parcels, and I know
Yes, and
speaks to the housing, you know, potential for infill housing. This is a perfect area. And we've had people.
Well, one of the things that drove down that capital charge was that 27 properties that are vacant got service connections added to it. That means they contribute toward that capital charge too. So there's 27 vacant parcels out there with a sewer connection ready to go.
Needing to be built.
Yes.
Okay, 21, authorize Denny Malloy, President of the Board, to sign a notice to proceed letter from Miller Yacht Paving for the Howland Scope Center parking lot resurfacing project funded through PY 2023 CDBG Community Development Grant Program. The original contract amount of $51,564 was awarded by the Commissioners August 21st, duly recorded in volume 158, page 26708.
Julie Green, Trumbull County Planning. This is another project through the CDBG program. So this shouldn't take very long for them to complete this at the Howland Scope Center, and you also have funding out for bid right now. Part of the project is to make improvements to that facility for the Howland Scope Center. So I believe that bid opening is sometime October 1st. Does that sound right? Lisa?
Julie, do we need the address in there or not? For the Howland Scope Center parking lot?
I don't think so.
I'm just thinking down the road, 10, 20 years down the road,
I
if it
think
moves 2 or 3 times.
Well, I think we could add it, certainly. I'll look it up and give it to Lisa before we leave, but I think it's actually on the notice to proceed itself, the letter. Yeah,
Yeah, I can get it.
Okay. 22, authorize Denny Malloy, Trumbull County Commissioner, delegate Gary Newbrow, Trumbull County Sanitary Engineer, to electronically execute the payment instruction form with the Ohio Water Development Authority for the listed projects, Scoville Drive, State Road, Elm Road.
Yes, Commissioners, if you recall, I don't know, about 3 or 4 months ago on Yankee Lake, there used to be a form that you would fill out, scan it, send it down to OWDA, and then I'd be able to access their funds to be able to pay invoices. And they changed the way they're doing it. They added the new safety protocols, and they need the Commissioners to authorize me to be able to have the security, clearance in order to do this. So it's something we already did on Yankee Lake, but here's 3 more projects. I'll need you to sign letters, to allow me to be able to satisfy their requirements.
23, adopt an improvement resolution determining to proceed with the construction of the Meadowbrook Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project, known as County Project Number 29S97, Trumbull County Combined Sanitary Sewer District in Warren Township. And authorize Board of Trumbull County Commissioners clerk to advertise for sealed bids for construction of said project. Funding this project is provided by following sources: $4 million OEPA WPCLF, $1.5 million Ohio Public Works, $900,000 American Rescue Plan, $250,000 Appalachian Regional Commission Grant, $1,089,000 OEPA WPCLF Principal Forgiveness, $10,950,000 OEPA Water Pollution Control Loan Fund, $17,600,000 is the estimated total project cost.
All right, Gary Newbrow, Sanitary Engineer. Commissioners, it is time to bid this project out, and we are going to open bids at, November 1st. It's November 1st, I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
Lisa. We
Yeah,
scheduled when
November
the bid
1st.
opening is. It's in the bid ad. I can see there's an error here. The WPCLF Principal Forgiveness was listed twice. So, we need to take that out. That 1089537, because that was the amount of principal forgiveness we had for Yankee Lake, so I can tell I wrote over that document.
Okay, so is the total gonna change, or is the total still gonna be
The
17?
total cost is still 17.6.
Okay. Please don't make that
All
correction.
right, but this is a long time coming to be able to put this out to bid, and, in order for us to still qualify for that $4 million, we need to, execute the contract somewhere in mid-November.
Big
Well,
contract.
the tentative execution. Well, the contract isn't gonna be 17.6, that's just our total project cost. That includes the engineering, the easements, and a lot of other things along the way. The engineer's estimate for the project itself is, for the contractor, is, well, 16.5, pretty close. So we got another 1.1 million and all the other things. We have the public hearing coming up on this on October 3rd, so that's not just 2 days from now, but next Thursday. So the public hearing on this project is also coming up.
Is that something Commissioners gotta be at?
Yes.
Yeah, every Darius LeBray, right?
Yeah, it's at LeBray High School, and then, yeah.
What day is that?
October the 3rd, it's 7 p.m., LeBray High School. And it's basically, at that public hearing, we'll have the same cost that we presented for Eat and Shoot, $35 per month capital charge, and then all our other ancillary charges for connection fees, sewer rate, that sort of thing. And as a conclusion of the Eat and Shoot, public hearing, if you remember, we got applauded.
I don't think that's.
And we're gonna present these same costs to people here, and based on, the CDBG hearings I went to with Emily, I don't think we're gonna get that warm of a reception.
Yes. Sorry, do I have to go?
Yeah, well, Joel, you got the
I'll go.
$200,000 of your RLF
Well, it's
for
not mine, it's
house
the
connections.
commissioner's.
Okay.
Where's your
But I'll
Kevlar?
go.
Where's your Kevlar?
But
That's not bad then.
it'll be fine,
No, it's gonna be fine.
it'll be fine.
That's the last of the consent decree projects, right, Gary? Or next to the last, I should say.
This is the first part of the next to the last consent decree project.
Yeah.
We got Meadowbrook and we go Pendleton Gilmore, then Levitt Road,
And
to get that whole Warren area done. Then our focus moves to Hubbard Township. Then we got one even bigger out there.
10 more years.
I'm hoping, 2030 was my target to have it all done, but we'll see. We get a big, congressional, earmark or something for Hubbard. It could help us. We'll see.
All right. 24, approve personnel action for the employment transfer of Mr. William Court from the position of maintenance repair worker, pay range 8, with the Trumbull County Maintenance Department to the position of package plant maintenance, pay range 8, the Trumbull County Sanitary Engineers Department. It's due to employee transfer, and he has the CDL with a tanker endorsement. Alex?
Yeah, Commissioners, as sad as this is to say, we had, Mr. William Court is a phenomenal employee. We don't wanna hinder him, so he actually chose to bid, was a sanitary, bid on the maintenance repair worker job under the maintenance department, is doing a phenomenal job, to be quite honest with you. I think he's, we're very sad to lose him in the maintenance repair department. However, he chose to, after about a month or two doing the job, bid back into the sanitary department, and there's just unfortunately, I mean, again, nothing we can do. Same union, they have bidding rights, it is what it is, but I will be quite honest with you guys, the commissioners, we do, need to try, I mean, in this one, it's a lateral, we obviously don't hurt people from taking promotions, we always want that, so, but we do need to have some safety guards in place in our contracts about, you know, this back and forth every couple months isn't working out too well for the county. So we do wanna try to put some safety guards in, again, not hurting anybody from a promotionary standpoint, so let's say they wanna go from an 8 to a 9, absolutely, we would never wanna hold anybody back. But what we see happening a lot right now is this war between, and I hate to say war, that's a bad word, but this struggle between sanitary and maintenance, and they just keep going back and forth. And it is, to be quite frank with you, a good thing for the employee, but it's disrupting our business. So we need to, we're working on that, is all I can tell you right now. I can't disclose what we're doing through contract negotiations publicly, but it's something that your HR department is looking to kind of put some safety guards in place. And it's also very cumbersome on the HR department. We only have 30 days to act when people wanna move and transition, and with 1,600 employees in this county, I mean, you can imagine, this is very hard to track and keep track of. I mean, I think, Bob, even you and I were both, we had to actually make a map of who moved where and what was going on, and I mean, that's how many moves are going on, so.
Well, I do blame Bob, and this all started with Chicwa.
But I have to say, Mr. Court is a phenomenal employee, and again, we don't wanna lose him, so if that meant that he wanted to go back, you know, we let him go back, and it is what it is.
So without taking it out of the contract language for lateral moves, this like 2-month period where they can say,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't like it anymore.
Yeah.
And they go back to their old job. Maybe that's something that we need to tighten up.
and that's what we're looking, so
Okay.
we're looking at more of a, you know, JFS currently has in their contract, so luckily I come from that.
Oh, yeah,
Where you
yeah.
have a year. When you bid to a lateral position, you gotta stay there for a year.
Yeah.
You gotta get your feet into it, know that
Yeah.
it is what you wanna do or not what you wanna do, because there's nothing to stop these employees from, again, rebidding in another month or two.
Right.
So, and that's what we're seeing also with the next one too, Nicole Stefanczyk. So we're seeing a lot of this kind of back and forth between sanitary and maintenance, and honestly, to be honest with you, that a lot has to do with the pay grades too. You know, they're the same pay grade at both, so sometimes people think the grass is greener on the other side, and then maybe they don't like it as much. So, The only thing I will say is, specifically the sanitary department, people tend to gravitate back there because they offer certification pay. So they get that CDL certification pay, they get that wastewater, if they have a wastewater license operator, if they have, so they get that little bump in pay by going there versus being 8 at maintenance where there's no, you know, additional certification pay. So we're looking at all those things as we're going through 2493 currently.
Okay.
So just so you know that.
Okay. And number 25, approve personal action, transfer Nicole Stefanik from package plant maintenance worker to treatment plant operator. Like I said, that's just a lateral, same
Yeah, you're seeing.
range, same pay, just different job.
This one is
No,
a little bit different,
It's
Commissioner.
not necessarily lateral. I mean, before it was Bob Myrano, sanitary engineers, and item 24 was maintenance to maintenance. This is maintenance to a plant operator. So it is, they're not.
But the same pay range.
Same pay
Same
range, just
pay
different
range.
job, class, different job.
Correct.
Well, she gets license pay at the new position.
No, not yet.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Where,
She doesn't have her license
yeah,
yet, okay.
all of that is, yeah.
She's got her training license.
Gotcha.
She hasn't finished her license.
But yeah, essentially, Commissioners, it's just important for you to kind of, I guess, understand Alice Stephen-Jency Bush, Human Resources Department. This is what you see when employees are just kind of, again, trying to get that extra boost in pay. I mean, they know that if they go to a certain position, they can get a little bit more, not at their pay range, but because they're getting that accreditation, that licensure pay. So, and I mean, you can't blame an employee for
Can't blame them.
wanting to get paid more, so it is what it is.
And advancing their education.
Absolutely, I mean, we're not against that either, it's just,
Well, Gary Newbrow, sanitary engineer. Commissioners, this is a hard position for us to keep filled also. This is the Mosquito Creek plant, and, yeah, she's at the Mosquito Creek plant, you know, the 24/7 operation, having to be on that, you know, day shifts, this week,
it's a rotating
next
shift.
week, afternoons, the other one.
And
Yeah, so it's
every-
difficult for us to keep people here, and we're happy that she did move.
Yeah.
That she is going to take this.
I mean, I think we posted it, 3-4 times for you before we actually got a bid this time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these are jobs that we're constantly posting on behalf of the sanitaries, so.
26, adopt a resolution authorizing expenditure for responding to or mitigating the public health emergency for American Rescue Plan Fund's mobile command post. This one here I didn't understand, because didn't we already do this? Didn't we already appropriate the funds, Mr. Hickey, for this? Christie?
Christie Cesaric Auditor's Office, Auditor Yoder sent me a note to relay, and it said that item number 26 is the resolution for the Mobile Command Center for EMA. This was ruled eligible in April of last year and is on the allocated/promised spreadsheet. It needs to have the formal resolution passed in order to proceed, and only the single resolution because it is a county project.
So we didn't do this already as this.
I don't believe so.
Allocated it, but this is the formal resolution prepared by Tanya. So there's a difference in the language,
Okay?
I believe.
Let's look into that, Lisa, just to double check, because I do remember, I thought we were just waiting for him to buy it. I thought we already went through this. Okay, number 27, approve the purchase of a new Astrophysics XIS 6040 X-ray machine from the lowest and best quote submitted by Event Metal Detectors for the family court front entrance, and a total amount of $28,745. It costs $23,250, service agreement $54.95. New X-ray machine for the family court front entrance is needed due to the currently installed X-ray machine having blue screen causing the unit to stop working. The unit no longer powers up and has been deemed inoperable by an X-ray machine technician, as well as Trumbull County's IT department. The safety and security family court relies on this machine. Attempt was made to get 3 quotes, but only 2 companies submitted. Lowest and best came from this Event Metal Detectors. Tim, you guys looked at it, this thing's unsalvageable,
Yeah,
can't be fixed.
It's unsalvageable. Yeah, Tim Haffer, Trumbull County Auditor, this device here, we actually had the company that did provide maintenance on it. There was no maintenance contract that was currently being purchased. They did provide maintenance on it. They did look at it and said, look, they said there's nothing we can do with this thing. You're gonna need to purchase something else. That company Honestly, I don't remember the name of it, but they did come back with an astronomical price, so that's when we went out, to get the lowest bid.
It does sound kinda cool to be the owner of an Astrophysics XIS 6040 X-ray machine. Okay, well, this is from the court, so it's something we definitely have to do for the safety of what goes on there. Okay, and then 28, enter an executive session pursuant to discipline of one Job and Family Services employee. Come back from executive session. And then vote on a personnel action for a JFS employee. Then go back into executive session for discipline of a maintenance employee. And then come back and then deal with the ramifications of that executive session. All right, there's 33 and 34.
Yeah, what's that about?
Is that because we're gonna pick one or the other maybe when we're in there, or is it two separate employees?
Commissioners, this is Alex Stevens, John P. Bush, Human Resources Department. These are two employees, just so you know. Two different employees.
Two different?
Yes.
So in the one executive session, we'll cover both
Yes.
things in there and then two different employees.
Yep.
Okay,
You
and
want
then
me
that,
to name them employee one, employee two? The item?
To be quite honest with you, just for the record, I recused myself of this investigation, so I truly, because it was a conflict of interest, so,
Okay.
Clemens and Nelson, that's,
yes, and they will be here.
all right.
I will come in, she did ask me to be present, just to hear what the findings were, but, I have taken myself out of the equation on this one, which I don't typically do, but I wanna make sure that everybody gets a fair and non-biased investigation, right? So-
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Clemens Nelson approved how this was written, so I would say, as well as Prosecutor Danzo, I do know, took a look at it as well. So I would just, I think it's kosher the way it is.
all right, that concludes the regular business. For the good of Trumbull County, Commissioner, I'd like for us to formally invite and call a special meeting for next Tuesday afternoon at 1 o'clock, with the Trumbull County Metro Parks Board. They meet this Thursday, amongst themselves. And I'd like to issue that invite to them before that, so it'll be on their agenda Thursday. But to reconvene with a follow-up to the, dam study that we had the last meeting. We said we'd look at the dam study, then we'd get back together again to discuss it. And I'd like to offer, an invite to them for
After the workshop, is that,
next Tuesday at 1, or if need be,
I'm free Tuesday at 1.
if need be, then next Wednesday at 1. We'll give them 2 dates to choose from. Is that free on your schedule?
Yeah, both are.
All right, then let's give them 2 dates to choose from, and, see if they'll accept, coming and meeting with us, 1 o'clock on either of those days. And Lisa, you got that? So when we hear from them, we'll ask that they report to us, give us the answer Friday morning, after they have their meeting Thursday. We'll send the invite over to them to meet, so they can address it Thursday at their meeting. And then Friday, to get back with you Friday morning before noon, and then whatever date they give you, then you can notify the newspaper and make the official announcement for the special meeting to discuss, the dam study and removal of the Leavittsburg Dam.
Is there a final version? I've not seen.
There is. They had the draft, and then
Public?
they didn't, it is. They had the draft, and then, the board wanted a copy of the official one, which I know
You have
Warren
it?
Township has delivered over to them. I don't have it in my possession, but I know it's there.
I could forward it to you.
I think it's there's an electronic
Does it
version.
still say draft?
I'm not sure.
It's
Yeah,
not
that's
called
been an
K
issue.
over at Warren Township, and they've got the final, the one that doesn't say draft.
Billy Green, Trumbull County Planning. sure Martha will cover these in detail when she returns, but we did get some good feedback from the ARPA attorney regarding the Gustavus, survey request that they had submitted, and that was previously denied, and she reversed her opinion on that. And
Is that for the generator?
well, it's for the survey, the cemetery survey.
Okay.
But we also submitted requests for her to review for Kinsman, Gustavus, and Hubbard Township's generators. And she reviewed it preliminarily and stated that it looked like it was something that could be potentially overturned as well, but I'm waiting for her response, on those. So,
Christie?
Christie Sesteric Auditor's Office. I have a little list here from Auditor Yoder, and one of the items on there was, Attorney Rogers amended her opinion on the Gustavus Cemetery survey request and has ruled it eligible. Do the commissioners want her to request a resolution to put the agenda for October 2nd?
Yes.
And
Yes.
then, would you like her to contact the township?
Sure. Yes.
She also has a note about the, Community Family Outreach Complex. The request for $49,491 for a commercial range and hood was found ineligible. This was a substitute request for, a flooring request that was denied previously. They have received $178,030.70 previously. Do the commissioners wish to freeze the $49,000?
Who was that again?
Bishop Herring.
Community Family Outreach Complex, Bishop Herring, because that's part of her question. Do you want to freeze the money, and then do you want to contact Bishop Herring, or do you want her to?
I'd like to freeze the money and contact them. I know we've already started a lot on that project, I'd like to see it through.
Well, we gave 178,
Yeah.
they wanted the parking lot paved, and they said no.
Yeah,
Then they said, well, we buy us a stove for the kitchen, and that's what she's saying, no. So the gist of the big portion is already been done, this is a separate individual request.
I would see if there's another request or anything else we can work with them with before we say no. I think that, that's a valuable program with the Trumbull County Combined Health District that we need to see through, and if there's anything we can work with them on, I would say we pursue that.
That's fine.
Okay.
And then do you want to contact Bishop Herring, or do you want her to?
She can.
Yeah, let her follow through.
That
So I
was one of her
have that.
notes.
Okay, no more on those?
Also, Commissioner, I contacted Dave Snyder about the potential moving, why am I drawing a blank? Coroner's office, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Coroner's office over to, where EMA is on North River Road,
Did you talk to him first about the 2.2 million
I
that,
talked to him about that, and he said those are just preliminary numbers, we don't know. We don't know on either, end right now, whether those numbers are completely concrete for Chestnut, or if those numbers are correct for the EMA. He said this is what he proposes, and I think that this would be the best path forward. Is for him, we've already retained him for, obviously, engineering, to do a feasibility study of the EMA, of the potential EMA property and what those numbers would look like. I think if they're obviously apples for apples at the end of the day, that's something we need to look at. But if they're not, and, you know, I don't know one way or another, but I know the cost of construction right now is through the roof, but, we'll see what those numbers bear out at the end of the day. I mean, are you okay with pursuing that avenue?
I am, I just want what's best, to retool that building and have them squeeze it in there. I mean, we look at building 2 floors,
Yeah.
steps for the employees to go up and down. If they could be on 1 floor where they can back a truck right in an enclosed area and not have to, even at the facility on Chestnut, they're gonna be taking dead bodies out in a parking lot and then bringing them into the building and wheeling them in. I mean, if there's something where they can go enclosed, kind of what their temporary area is now, that's what the coroner looked at and said, this would be great, we could back the truck right in, boom, there it is, we unload, nobody sees, it doesn't cause any shock to the neighborhood, all weather conditions, and then you don't have to put a lift in, and we were gonna have to put elevators in and everything else in that Chestnut building.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it was like squeezing a size 12 foot in a 10.5 shoe.
Yeah.
I mean, it would work, but it's gonna cause discomfort, and it's not gonna be ultimately what we need. If we can be in the same cost range and have it fit perfectly, where the coroner can say, I need this, this, and this will provide the best situation for my employees and the public service, I think we have to listen to that, it's his
Oh, of course,
department.
of course.
And if we can, I understand, but then we're gonna be left with a building that's there, but it is a probably market value $30,000 building that's in deplorable conditions as it is right now. And we're gonna have to rebuild the whole thing from the foundation up, and with the rooms, the plumbing and everything else. It just may not be worth it in that area. You got a big electrical, conductor substation right behind it. You know, that's something that, you know, we can work with TMP. If we don't use that building, if we can't sell it, we can't do anything with it, use it for storage, whatever. Just 'cause we own it doesn't mean we have to use this, 'cause we already have the building, in my opinion.
I get it. All I ask is let the numbers bear out what the numbers, will tell us, and that'll make our decision a lot easier.
And I do think with the coroner had a plan, and I've talked to State Senator O'Brien, I've talked to Nick Santucci, talked to Representative Thomas. They're all on board with helping us try to acquire some state funds, being that our coroner does the autopsies for Geauga and Ashtabula right now.
Mhm.
So, being that our state senator serves all three of those areas, it's a natural fit for her to jump on board to help acquire some funding, to help us build coroner's place, no matter where it is. But I think having a new location that fits the needs of everything, and then having those counties grow support, being that that's what we're doing with them, we could shave the cost down on this stuff too, with some state aid and possibly even some help from the other counties that are paying us right now to do their autopsies for them.
I will, and I don't disagree, and I think if they can assist with that, we need to hold their feet to the fire. But at the end of the day, I don't wanna see another Ween building, I don't wanna see an empty building with storage, and it's just, you know, it's another building that we have to heat, it's another building that we have to still, okay, we don't have to maintain it on a day-to-day basis, but it still needs maintained. And if you donate it to somebody and it's another rundown disrepair, owner of the building, then we're just adding to the blight in the downtown area. We have to have an exit strategy for that building.
I understand.
So, but that all goes into this,
It's just the service we're providing is a service that isn't a public, people don't wanna see it, it's been in the, that's why the morgues are in the basements of hospitals. Out of sight, out of mind.
Yes.
And to have it right there, across from the VFW, across from the ITAM, next to a barber shop, right where it is, kind of almost in a neighborhood setting, on the verge of a neighborhood, in a two-story building where he's gonna be doing one thing on one floor and all his employees are upstairs, and they did mention, part of the big problem on Chestnut is the HVAC.
Yes.
He's dealing with, like, you know, right now he's got the 3 burn victims from the airplane crash at the airport still sitting in a cooler. He's gonna be working on those people. You know, the smell of that to go upstairs, you know, coming through the vents, when you got employees trying to work up there, that's not any place I wanna work.
Yeah.
You know, so we have to think of that too, that we're putting employees on top of where the work he's doing isn't the greatest and not the most sanitary type of work that they have to do, unfortunately. But we do have a forensic guy who is gonna be solving things and dealing with decomposed bodies and maggots and everything else too, but we're fortunate to have him. And I think we need to give them the proper facilities to do what they do.
Let's let the study bear it out. I think that's the best thing with Dave Snyder. He said, let me work up some specs, let me look at the numbers I threw out there were not concrete numbers.
Right.
Let me work on it and get back to the commissioners.
But we
And
do
you can make
need-
an apples to apples.
We do need to figure something out too, and I wish Mr. Hart was here today, because initially, it was $49,000, now his bill is at $77,000, so Commissioner Frenchco brought it up last week, now we're up over that $50,000 threshold. Now, if we're gonna add more work and do a feasibility study, we have to work with Prosecutor Danzo to make sure everything we're doing is legal,
Yeah,
going
and I
forth
have no
with
problem
even
with that.
using Baker to do this, to continue on with feasibility. I mean, we're in it, but we wanna make sure that we're legal with what we're doing now
Yeah,
that his
I agree.
price tag has changed.
That's why I brought it up publicly.
Yep, and that's what we need to do, is bring it up that way.
Okay.
We didn't expect that the price tag was gonna go over that, but it did with that building. You know, they got in a lot more plumbing issues
Sure.
and things that they didn't
Sure.
expect they would need to do. So with the scope change somewhat, we gotta consult with Danzo to make sure we're legal moving forward with this, so we don't have any issues that are gonna hold the project up, 'cause right now, we're talking about declaring an emergency on a culvert pipe. Right now, we have a coroner cutting bodies up in a garage with a light hanging over his head, like some mad scientist horror film. And we need to get them a house, we need to put them somewhere. It's not feasible to go back where they came from, the conditions there were with the failing coolers and everything else, would not
Right.
work. But right now, we cannot let our coroner keep working in a garage for too much longer. It's to the border of, if we have to declare an emergency to figure this out, we got people unfortunately dying of drug overdoses and murders and stuff every day in this county. We can't let them we can't just put them off the side and this be an engineer's garage roof anymore.
Oh, no,
This has gotta be something that is the utmost for us, that we gotta figure something out quick,
I agree.
my opinion.
Are you ready to sign stuff, or are you?
That just
got
about
more
ready to
stuff?
sign up, do you have anything else? I know we're missing something
I
here.
gotta go.
The only,
Cover Bezetta,
the only item I would like to add, Tim Hamm for Trumbull County Auditor. The front doors, you look, you notice the fob reader on those doors. That is ready to go. My plan is to allow notification to go out to the individuals that currently have hard keys to those doors. They require access after hours. Let them know, October 15th, the day after Columbus Day, we're gonna go live with it.
Okay.
So there's gonna be several emails that are gonna go out to let everybody know, if you come in after hours, you're gonna need that hard key, you're gonna need your key fob. Those doors will be disabled, during regular business hours, so though if you come in during business hours, you won't have to use a key.
Okay.
one other concern I have, tomorrow we have a transportation meeting.
Yes.
Was that notified properly to the press that it's a special meeting so all the commissioners can come to it?
Is that tomorrow?
It's tomorrow at 1.
Okay.
So, I wanna make sure, Mr. Solomon, you notified that meeting correctly as a special meeting with the topic, and we notified the press within 24 hours and everything, make sure, I didn't see anything, that's why I'm just asking.
I can send it again if you'd like.
Well, I think we should, just to be safe, and right now we have an hour, I guess, if it's gonna be tomorrow at 1. But I don't know if you need to check with Mike to see that he did it, I'm hesitant, gun shy a little bit to make sure that we notify that meeting properly for tomorrow.
It was done a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Did you know about it, Ray? Didn't know about it. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Just double check then, if it's already been done that way, we're good, I just wanna make sure it was. Cause I know Mike called the meeting, but just wanna follow to make sure he followed through with it. Anyone have anything else?
Not? Make a motion to adjourn?
One thing before we do that, I wanna commend the, Fair Board, they had their Halloween
Yes.
at the fairgrounds this weekend, hugely attended. They raised a couple $1,000 of food for the Warren Family Mission, and a couple $1,000 for them also, from what I understand. But, people were quite impressed with the amount of people that were out there. It was really, really crowded for something that, to see that the fairgrounds can utilize that with a new event that they created. You know, it leads toward my goal, that being a 24/7, 365-day facility. And the fairgrounds is open for the public to bring their events here, if they're a part of a car club that wants to have a car show, or they're part of a craft, show, or we wanna utilize that fairgrounds like this. And that showed yesterday, or this weekend, something a little different. They had some camping, they had Halloween things, but congratulations to the Fair Board for doing a great job. Also, Hartford Apple Festival, that was another great time, another great event put on by the trustees over in Hartford and their team, their Apple Festival team. You know, those are things that bring people to the county, feel good things for a family, family to do. They also had a rock, tribute concert at, Eastwood Field. That's another good thing that provided entertainment for families to go to. So we gotta toot our horn on the good stuff and give accolades on the good stuff that's happening. Pretty much, there's things happening just about every week.
Yes.
One of the other things we're doing, to make you notified of it, I'm working with Beth Carmichael, and we're doing, we're gonna start doing monthly tours in Trumbull County on north, south, east, west, and central. We're gonna do 5 of them ultimately, where we take community leaders on a shuttle bus, and the first one we're gonna do is next month, and it's gonna go up to the, northwest part of the county. We're gonna go to Mesopotamia, they're gonna eat at an Amish house, we're gonna work our way from Mosquito Lake across to Farmington and Bristol and work our way up, and then back down through the wildlife refuge, and spotlight that part of the county. And we're gonna invite, some of the elected leaders, we're gonna invite state reps, the congressman's office, other people that have influence over that part of the county of, not just tourism, but economic impact. And then the next one we're gonna do is northeast on the Kinsman side, then we'll go down toward Hubbard, then we'll do, Newton Falls, and then back to Mosquito Lake next spring. But it is something for elected officials, if they wanted to be on the tour, to reach out to me and let me know. I think we can do 11 at a time or something. And, if people wanna follow behind the bus, they can do that, but lunch, we'll do something where they have lunch, they get to meet the business owners. We're gonna look at like a cabinet shop up in Amish country that ships cabinets all over the world, not just there. So we're gonna look at some businesses and spotlight some of that stuff and work with, that. Julie, you're one of the people we would love to have
Okay.
be on the bus with us.
Up
Gary,
on the
that's
bus.
something, if you have an interest too, to see the needs of the people up there, this is something that we wanna get it out there, so everyone that has votes and power to make Trumbull better, gets a better understanding of the whole county and not just what they know in their little niche, to get outside the box a little bit and look at, you know, hey, I didn't know this was happening up here, wow, this much business is generated out of this business, whatever it is. So we're gonna try to find, you know, Beth is doing a great job of finding hey, we need to go here, you gotta check this out, I didn't know this existed, and I think she's gonna blow us away by the stops that we have, that's really gonna open our eyes for that, so that's something, Commissioner, you'll be invited on that.
Absolutely.
You know, also too, when we do that, and it's something that, will make us better commissioners and make us all better public servants as we know what's out there and we listen to the needs of people by going to them instead of having them come to us. So it's not just gonna be a fun thing, it's gonna be something that actually has some value to it that I think is a wise use of our time to go up there and actually roll up the sleeves and open our ears and open our eyes to see what's going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Gary Newbrow, sanitary engineer. Commissioner, we did something similar to this back in, I wanna say 2000. Took a tour up north, it was part of the farmland preservation portion. And part of that tour was to go to an Amish resident's house and have lunch.
Right.
It was one of the best meals I ever had in my life.
We're doing that again.
I can still remember that. It just something came to mind when you're doing.
Yeah, we're doing that
You
again.
can work that into the tour.
Yeah.
Gary will be there.
No, that is on the agenda, Beth is already working with that, and then we do the other side, we'll probably go to Peter Allen Inn or somewhere, we go, you know, we'll spotlight maybe Lena's Pierogies in Hubbard or something, we'll do something that is something that's an attraction or something that, yeah, we'll try to knock your socks off with that. But, and I think Beth Carmichael for working on that, we're gonna have it this Thursday, and we had to delay it for a schedule conflict, so she moved it to a date in October, and the people that are on the list will be notified soon.
Good, very good.
We'll get both of you on there if you can do it. And then, Gary, do you have the results yet from the,
Oh, yes.
last public hearing that we had? That was an issue last week, I know they had till Friday to get their votes in.
Yes, as of, this morning, it is 56% support, 44% opposed.
Ah.
So Altabelli's did come in and support,
Yes,
okay?
yes. But I usually wait and there may be a postmarked envelope out there
I
somewhere.
understand.
Gonna come in, so.
But as now, it's looking good as of right
Usually the
now.
next Friday after the thing is when we call it and say, okay, that's it, so.
Okay.
Right now, it's 56-44 in support.
And then I would ask with that, you know, we did have the discussion, we did have the thing, let's look at adding on that next street, what we need to do that, and follow up with our commitment with that $85,000 to make that possible while we're out there working and doing it. If we can not change the scope of the initial project, but add the new project to it for convenience, which will somehow save money, I'm sure, while we have the labor and manpower out there already without reinventing the whole wheel and starting from scratch. Let's look at that, because we did make a commitment verbally to the public and to him when he was here that we would address that.
Right, and Commissioners, Dave Rohan, the Weathersfield administrator, he sent you an email last Friday.
Yes.
They have a ARP request in there for some sort of training center for the
Yes.
township, something like that. And I don't know the status of that, but, we would like to redirect that toward 85,000 of that toward this. toward the Crane Drive project, because that's the other project, we need to get the sewer there. Crane Drive is a whole different issue, but I got a $1.5 million grant request on there with OPWC to help finance that one.
I'd be open to that, if he wants to redirect what he's already requested, which we have on the maybe list,
Yeah.
and it's gonna go towards sanitary, and it's gonna go to provide sewer there,
For
and
water, yes.
I would be for that,
Of
Commissioner.
course, yes.
Okay.
I think that's a nice compromise there, and I'm glad, that's a good gesture by Weathersfield to appropriate the money in the place they feel wisest, if that's where they say it needs to go,
All right.
I'd have to agree with that.
All right, well, let's officially pass the public hearing, and then we can, look into that.
Okay. Oh, one other thing to address, that came up too while you're here too. We had a constituent that utilizes a right-of-way, another right-of-way thing, but it's to where we have our plant, in the Westlake
Oh.
neighborhood. The gentleman is in his 90s. I get a phone call from the engineer's office, and he uses our right-of-way to get back to his barn behind his property, over in your neighborhood back there in the back corner that heads back to the, package plant or whatever we have back there. And he wants something official that allows him on the property to go back to his barn. Right now, he's been doing it for years and years and years, and he read about stuff in the paper and stuff with the other access that we denied right away over in Brookfield, and he just wants to make sure he's able to get back to his barn and keep using the lane that he has there between his house and the neighbor's house. Mr. Antonucci, I believe his name is.
Yeah, Gary Newbrow, sanitary engineer. Commissioner, this has been looked at numerous times through the years. And it comes down to this piece of property over there is owned jointly by the city of Warren and, the Board of Commissioners. It's because we both have infrastructure there. It's where our master meter connection is between us and the city of Warren. And the prosecutor's office, has determined that we are not able to give an easement there. And there's not a whole lot, from my memory of this, I think the last time it came up was about 5 years ago. There's really not a whole lot we can do to help him out with this.
Can we give him officially a letter of written permission to access the driveway to his
I
property
think we've looked.
without giving an easement?
I think we've looked, I'll have to research this.
Kinda like Zach gives hunting permission slips out for people to hunt on our property. Well, can we do something like that with this gentleman? He's in his 90s. You know, he
Yeah.
just.
Yeah, we do appreciate that he does, keep the property upkept. I mean, he mows portions of it, that sort of thing. But like I said, I'll have to look and see what the prosecutor's, opinions were regarding that also. I think this was all discussed before.
It was discussed.
Yes.
There is a meeting, with the property owner, myself, and Bill Danzo, that we scheduled for next week.
Oh, they
Okay.
called you too?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Then if you got it, you're
So,
good to go.
He's been taking care of the property for over 30 years. But obviously, says he wants to send us a bill for the 30 years he's been mowing the yard. Half joking, half serious. But I feel for the guy because we have a meter pit there, right, Gary? We have,
Yeah, there's a meter pit and there's,
and City of Warren has some utilities there as well.
yes.
But
It's the connections between the county and the city system is on this property. And there's quite a bit of infrastructure,
yes.
sanitary infrastructure throughout this property.
And I know, Attorney Blair has weighed in on it, in the past. We have never had the prosecutor's office weigh in on it. I've had Mr. Masaki when he was up here in his capacity, I've had Mr. Blair, but we've never had Mr. Danzo. So I took it upon myself to have this
All right,
meeting with
yeah,
Bill.
I'll pull
And
the
if there's a
file.
way that the City of Warren and we can work with this older gentleman, we'll definitely try to do it.
All right, yeah, I would like to do something for him. I'm not, I don't see any problem with him being able to get to his, barn out there that he needs to get to. And I wish there was a way we could just do it, but the prosecutor, the
Mr. Ray thought the same
attorneys
thing,
that
because
worked
it's-
on it told us that we can't.
It's this Friday that I have the meeting with him, Bill Danzo and Mr. Antonelli.
Then just report back next Tuesday,
Will
we'll
do.
be fine, we'll see if there's, like I said, I would like to take care of him somehow, even if
Sure.
it's just a permission slip to trespass on our property or whatever. Maybe not. A little chilly?
But is the heat on? Feels like the heat.
Really?
What, you feel
Maybe
hot or
it's just
cold?
me.
That's a
Feels
little
about
chilly.
I'm gonna go with hot,
I am
since you're fanning
55.
yourself.
Feels about right.
I know I don't want to.
Okay, so we have no ARP stuff to dole out tomorrow?
I just got one that's in there for the EMA command, the mobile command center for the EMA, that's the only resolution on the agenda.
And Lisa, look into that and see if we already did something with that. I think we're duplicating work, honest to God, I think we are.
You mean the item that's on?
Yeah.
I don't think you need special language there.
I don't think.
But I thought we did when we appropriated it,
But you know how they made us redo them all?
possibly. That was an early one, it was one of the first ones.
Yeah, I think that's why.
Yeah, she said it was, ruled eligible in April of last year,
Yeah, 20.
so.
Just pull the journal and see what we
She
did
said
there.
she checked with Tanya before, she had the resolution.
Yeah.
John Hickey also did.
That was one of the ones we were talking about needing an MOU for, and they said they're ready to buy, so they don't need it. I think. We could talk about it.
There's nothing else, make a motion to adjourn?
Second that?
Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Malloy,
Yes.